And thank you to all of you who are joining us here from News Chopper 4 Alpha. I'm Eliana Moreno, along with my pilot, Mike Case, over a California Highway Patrol pursuit on the northbound 405 freeway, passing the Victory Boulevard exit here in the city of Van Nuys. The vehicle in question is this white car that you see here in the very right lane of the northbound 405 freeway. The CHP is in pursuit. This is a pursuit that started about 5 minutes ago or so. It was on the 101 at Canoga, headed eastbound, and made its way to the 405 and eventually hopped on that northbound 405. It's unclear why the suspect is wanted for, but I'm actually hearing on the scanner that they're running the plates. They're getting the information back for the registered owner. So it seems like this is not going to be a stolen vehicle situation. So it's unclear why the California Highway Patrol initially tried to pull this suspect over. Approaching Sherman Way here, northbound 405 freeway in the right lane. The California Highway Patrol close behind. And I'm actually hearing them say on the scanner that the airship is coming from Fullerton Airport. So it's going to be a little bit of a trek for the air unit to arrive. From Fullerton to this location takes about 15 minutes. So we're not going to be seeing a helicopter overhead, at least for the next 15 minutes or so. So at this point, we're just going to see the units directly behind the suspect. And I just got an updated ETA for the airship. It's about 12 minutes. So about 12 minutes out for the airship to arrive on scene. So for now, we'll watch as the units, the ground units, follow this vehicle on the northbound 405, approaching the Roscoe Boulevard exit. This is going to be in the city of Panorama City on the right side of the freeway. Unclear how many people may be in the car. We understand, though, that there is one person behind the wheel, believed to be a male. He has glasses. The car does not have tint, so it makes it easy for the police officers who are following this suspect to see inside. But at this point, we're only hearing about that single individual. It's unclear, though, if someone may perhaps be laying down in the back seats, and then that would make it difficult for the officers who are trailing the suspect to see exactly how many people are inside. So the registered owner comes back to a home in North Hollywood. So we're not... Go ahead, Jack. Back with you guys here, just throwing on some elements here. Is that okay? Ten four. Alrighty. And again, thank you for joining us from up here in News Chopper 4 Alpha. I'm Eliana Moreno, along with my pilot, Mike Case. I just put on some of our mapping features that we have at our disposal. So you're going to be able to see the address, you're going to be able to see the direction that the suspect is traveling at, as well as the speed. If you ever see the speed fluctuate significantly to about 120 or so, it's simply because the speedometer is picking up our speed from the helicopter. But of course, the vehicle is not traveling that quickly. As you can see, currently traveling at about 40 miles an hour, headed northbound. So headed northbound on that 405 freeway. If you look at the top of the screen, you're going to see the address bar that has the nearest cross street coming up is going to be exit 69, also known as Nordhoff Street, as the suspect is actually starting to slow down significantly in that right lane. Perhaps he's thinking about giving up. The vehicle comes back to a residence in North Hollywood, so if perhaps the suspect is thinking about exiting and heading in that general direction, it's not too far of a trek for that suspect. He would just have to exit and go eastbound on surface streets to get back to the North Hollywood area. But we first heard about this pursuit when it was on the 101 freeway at Canoga. The suspect went eastbound on that 101 until he got to the 405 freeway, where he went northbound on the 405. And I'm saying he because we understand that it is a male driver who is behind the wheel. The only description that I have about this individual is that he's wearing glasses. The vehicle does not have tint, so the officers who are trailing the suspect are able to see inside, and they have determined that it appears to just be one person. So when this does come to a stop, we'll of course confirm that, because sometimes people could be laying down in the seats and it would make it difficult for the officers to see whether or not there is anybody else inside. But the suspect continues traveling here, northbound 405. He's already past Plummer, so that's where we find ourselves now in the, it's going to be, zoom into the tires, sure. Just getting some direction here to zoom into the tires real quick so we can look. We're not seeing any damage on the passenger side of the tires. It's unclear whether he has any damage on the driver's side, but as far as we can see from the passenger side, we're not seeing anything. And I'm actually going to use this opportunity to punch in my infrared technology up here in News Chopper 4 to see if perhaps I can see inside a little better, to see what the suspect may be doing. I can barely make out his figure there. Again, a vehicle without any tint, so it makes it a little bit easier to see. But as far as I can tell, all of the tires are looking really good. No damage to any of them, at least not from this side. And the vehicle appears to be I want to say it's a Kia. I'll be able to recognize it a little better as we come to the backside of the car, but I believe it's going to be a Kia. Of course, white in color, with believed to be just a single occupant. But what we're still trying to figure out is what the suspect is originally wanted for. Of course, failure to yield is a given. Whenever you don't yield to the authorities, it's automatically a failure to yield. And he may be exiting here, may be transitioning to the 118 freeway from the 405, and it appears like that is in fact what is happening. Taking the 118 transition. The vehicle's either going to be a Kia or a Ford. I'm still trying to make it out here, but a four-door vehicle, and we're just getting around to the back there. I want to see if we can perhaps even pick up a plate for our assignment desk to run, because as we understand, this vehicle is not stolen, so not believed to be a stolen car. There's the plate there for a moment. I'll zoom back out so we can see as he makes this transition on to the 118 freeway. Going to be heading eastbound. Eastbound 118 from the 405. So I'm hearing on the scanner that they are going to send units to the registered address. So this car does not come back as a stolen, which means that the officers are able to run the plates, which is actually why I was trying to pick up the plate there so we can run them too. The officers are trying to run the plates, or rather they have already run the plates. They know where the vehicle is registered to, so they're going to go ahead and do a door knock on that person's residence so that they can get some more information about who may be behind the wheel, what their state of mind may be, why they're not yielding to the authorities, and perhaps what their destination may be. Oftentimes those suspects tend to return to a place that it is familiar to them. They tend to return to a home or a friend's home. So officers are trying to figure out if that is what this suspect is trying to do. Approaching the 5 freeway there, and the car again is registered to North Hollywood, so if he's trying to get to North Hollywood, he's gonna have to climb on that southbound 5 freeway from the eastbound 118, and you can see that he's slowing down significantly as he comes up to the gore point. He may be stopping here. You know, there's actually significant damage, it's not significant damage, but there's actually quite a bit of a slowdown there on the transition of the 5. So that may be why the suspect is slowing down here, but slowing down significantly in the gore point. Going to be right under us here for just a moment. Maybe trying to continue here on the eastbound 118. It looks like he was trying to get on the southbound 5, but there is so much slowing on that southbound 5, that he got into that gore point and is likely going to continue here on the eastbound 118. Instead, you see the exit there. It's going to be Laurel Canyon. So 118 and Laurel Canyon. That's going to put us in the Pacoima area. And if he wants to go, again, if he's trying to head to North Hollywood, it's still not impossible. He could exit Laurel Canyon, and Laurel Canyon will take him all the way down to North Hollywood. So perhaps that is what he has decided to do, exiting here onto the 118's Laurel Canyon exit. And I'm hearing that there may be a little bit of traffic as he comes up to the exit here. I'm hearing that there's a little bit of slowdown as he will go to the end of that off ramp. So exiting Laurel Canyon there, transition of the 118 and 5 freeways. Let's see if he goes right or left. If he goes to the right, it means that it likely will put him closer to North Hollywood. And he does appear to be setting up to go right or southbound onto Laurel Canyon. Coming up to the end of the off-ramp here, red light, and doesn't yield. This may be a pit maneuver right here. Nope. The officer decided against it, but it looks like he hasn't given up, though. It looks like he might try to effort a pit maneuver here on Laurel Canyon, just south of the 118 freeway. You see how that CHP unit is getting very close to the tail end of that vehicle, so we may be seeing a pit maneuver here in a matter of seconds, getting ever so close, just under those trees, and we have a number of trees here in the way, so we'll see what happens once we clear those trees. Just on the other side of those trees, I still see the suspect vehicle as well as that CHP unit. He got very close to performing a pit maneuver, but he just did not have the opportunity to do so. Currently at Laurel Canyon with a cross of Paxton, again in the Pacoima area, coming to very slow speeds here, approximately 10 miles an hour or so. Let's see why he's slowing down, though. I want to see if there's any bit of slowing ahead of him, and there really isn't. It's nice and open for him on southbound Laurel Canyon, and now starting to pick up speed yet again. Laurel Canyon with a cross of just south of Paxton, rather, in the Pacoima area once again. The nearest intersection or nearest freeways rather are going to be the 118 and the 5 freeway. He's traveling on Laurel Canyon southbound, just on the east side or north side of the 5 freeway, depending on how you look at it. You see at least 2 CHP units close behind, 3 right there, and the CHP helicopter appears to not be on scene just yet. When this pursuit kicked off, it was still in Fullerton. They, of course, had to take off, so it takes approximately 15 minutes to get to this area. You see the CHP unit getting very close. This may be the pit. This is it. Spinning out. Let's see if he loses control. And it looks like he may still be able to get out of this one. Let's see. He's not moving, though. Vehicle is at a complete stop here on Laurel Canyon with a cross of Penny Street. Officers have their guns drawn. They have a clear visual of the suspect. And the suspect, at this point, I see his hands. So at this point, they will start to give this individual commands to throw the keys out the window, open the door, and eventually raise his hands, raise his shirt, and be taken into custody. So we'll see as each of these things happens here in the next few seconds. This is when really things are at a heightened state of alert, but the officers will take their time on this one. Time is on their hands. And speaking of hands, I see the suspect's hands right now coming out from the driver's side. His door is open. He already tossed the keys, so he's stepping out very gingerly there, hands up. But they want to see his hands all as far high as they can go. So he's still kind of keeping them close to his head, which the officers do not want. They want him to stretch those hands up as far as he can. And when they instruct him, they will ask him to lift his shirt up so that they can see his waistband to make sure that there is nothing on his person that could possibly hurt them. And when they feel comfortable, they will ask the suspect to either walk back towards them or get down on his knees. Or in some situations, they will ask the suspect to crawl towards them. So we'll see what they do. It just depends on the department, depends on the officers. But you see him here stepping away from the vehicle, hands up, although not as high up as the officers would like to see. And of course, they're also going to make call outs to additional people in the vehicle if there are any. At this point, I don't believe there are, but of course, sometimes people can be hiding in the back seat or even in the trunk. So officers are going to check all of those locations just to be sure. Again, Laurel Canyon with a cross of Penny Street in the city of Pacoima, just south of the 118 freeway, east of the 5. You see the night sun there? That is the CHP helicopter arriving to the scene. Again, they took off all the way from Fullerton, so they had quite the trek to get up here to the city of Pacoima. So they are just arriving on scene, but the officers on the ground, they've got this. They performed a very effective pit maneuver of the suspect's vehicle, and you see the suspect now kind of following commands, but then at the same time, doing a little dance move there. Dancing in the middle of the street there, dancing in the middle of Laurel Canyon. Appears to be some type of breakdancing. I'm going to go ahead and push in here so we can see the suspect a little bit closer. Hopefully now he'll start to listen to their commands. Hands up in the air. He should be getting down on his knees here in a moment, but not before he lifts his shirt. They still need to check his waistband because they really weren't able to see it, especially not after those dance moves that he was just doing. Perhaps now he's going to finally start to heed their commands. Hands up in the air. It is a male wearing a dark shirt, dark pants, and tennis shoes. And again, we don't believe there is anybody else in the vehicle. The vehicle was not stolen. It was registered out of North Hollywood. So officers are actually already at the suspect's residence to see if there's anybody there that they can talk to that could perhaps tell them who this person is and give them any information about why the suspect would not yield to authorities. But now he has finally stopped following a very effective pit maneuver by the California Highway Patrol in the LAPD's Foothill area. And speaking of LAPD, they have been told, of course, about the pursuit that is in their area. At this point, they are not participating. They may be participating just for traffic control purposes, but they are not participating in the actual high-risk traffic stop. The suspect is now getting down on his right knee, and in a moment, we'll see him get down on his left knee. Hands still roughly only to about his head. They want to see his hands all the way up to the sky if possible, but finally, seems to be listening, but not quite. Just when you think that he's finally going to listen to their orders, he starts to act erratically. So you see this officer, he's feeling comfortable enough with the situation. He's going to approach and put handcuffs on the suspect. And you see that second officer with his weapon drawn, just should that be necessary. We don't have a police canine here on the scene at the moment, so it's just up to these officers to take this suspect into custody. One in custody is what we're hearing, but they don't have a code 4 just yet because they haven't cleared the car yet. We have this officer approaching the vehicle right now just to double check, just to make sure that there is nobody else inside. And I'm starting to hear that they are in fact confirming nobody else inside. The suspect now in custody. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in real tight on this individual, who again led CHP officers on a pursuit that started on the eastbound 101 freeway at Canoga, made its way eastbound at approximately 80 miles an hour before hopping on the northbound 405 and then transitioning to the eastbound 118.
Oh no, no, no!
We have a suspect running.
All units go to condition 2.
To watch more heart-stopping car chases happening across Southern California, subscribe here. Thanks for watching. The Chase is on.